Numbers don't lie, but the suits sure do. They printing that paper while you chasing what's due. Ledger got no borders, can't fake what's true. Digital escape hatch, I'm breaking through. Blindfolds tight, but my vision stay clear. System rig heavy, still I persevere. Centralized puppets, man, they pulling them strings. I'm out here stacking sets while they sell you false kings. Decentralized dreams, centralized puppets, man, they pulling them strings. Freedom ain't free, but I'm chasing the means. Blockchain the truth, no shadow regimes. Decentralized dreams, yeah, decentralized dreams. Fiat's a leash and they got us on choke. Inflation's a virus, whole system's a joke. Gold got heavy so they turned it to smoke. Now I hold private keys, ain't no chains on my throat. Bank runs coming, man, the writing's on walls. Bailouts for the rich, crumbs for us all. But code don't lie, it's trustless and raw. They fear what they can't own, so they outlaw. 21 million, the people's decree. Math over muscle, that's financial decree. No middleman tax and my wallet stay free. Don't lie, but the suits sure do. They printing that paper while you chasing what's due.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge in financial freedom. Today, I've got no headlines, but I do have a lot of data to go over. We are seeing a little bit of some downside action on the crypto markets. We will get to that in just a second. But you know what I got pulled up first? It's that stock heat map. So let's dive on in, get you prepped for some success today, because there is the opportunity for a little bit of some bouncing action if you look over at the TradFi markets. We are seeing a little bit of some upside over here. We've got Apple up 0.28% this morning. We've got Nvidia continuing on a little bit of a sell-off that started last week, down 0.95%. We got Berkshire Hathaway down 0.42%. We've got Amazon down 0.19%. We've got Eli Lilly down 0.71%. Taking a look at ExxonMobil, we are up 0.11 right now. We've got Tesla up 0.64, PNG up 0.06. We've got Microsoft down 0.59. We've got Google down 0.45, and we've got Meta down 0.54. We did see a little bit of green, a little bit of red, but the crypto market's looking quite different. Hopping over to those daily bubbles, you see nothing but a sea of red. Let's scroll it on down. We are sitting down 2.7 on Bitcoin. We're sitting down 6.5 on Ethereum. We've got XRP losing a spot in the market cap from Tether, down 5.3%. We've got BNB down 3.5, Solana down 7.2, Doge sitting down 10.2%, Tron's down 2%, we've got Cardano down 7.3%, Chainlink down 8.4%, we've got Hyperliquid down 7.5%, while it also loses a spot in the market cap from a stable token. We've got Avalanche down 7%, SWE down 7.2, Stellar Lumens also sitting down 7.2, Bitcoin Cash down 4.3%. We've got HBAR down 9.4%. Leo token moving on up in that market cap, sitting down 0.1%, while Litecoin's losing that spot in the market cap, sitting down 8.5%. Hopping over to those fear and greed meters, we're still looking a little bit greedy on the stock side. Not too unexpected, we did see a massive green close on Friday and might be seeing a little bit of a tick down towards that neutral range. We do have the crypto side of things looking at some fear right now. Quite interesting, we were sitting at neutral, getting a dip to the lower side of our sideways range. We'll take a look at that chart here in just a second, but down 4 points, sitting in some fear. We are sitting directly above some liquidity and directly below some liquidity. That liquidity starting to pile on up right where we saw some of that bouncing action at 11,900 and all the way down to 11,800. So a little bit of a range to the bottom side, and that top side starting to stack up at 113,800. Zooming on out just a little bit here, we've still got quite a bit of topside liquidity. A lot of this started piling up when we looked like we were rejecting off of a key level we talked about last week. And that hot spot's coming in at 117,100 and ranges all the way down to 116,500. So a little bit of a range directly above us to kind of keep our eyes on if we can get and hold some of these key levels below us. If not, there's plenty of levels to come back down to, and we will take that level by level. Taking a look at this 1 week here. 1 week also looking quite nice for a move back towards the upside if we can hold some of the key levels we will talk about in just a second here. 118,800 all the way down to 118,000 is going to be that broad range of liquidity towards the top side. Keep an eye on some of the levels below us first, and then we'll see if we can get back up there, really grab up some of that liquidity, and then we've got a few more levels to kind of keep our eye on. Let's hop on over to that economic calendar because we have a heavy week coming forward. We kind of teased some of that last week. We do have a lot of Fed chairs that are going to be speaking today. Getting in here, we've got the Chicago Fed National Activity Index coming up first thing this morning. That's going to be at 8:30. Definitely keep your eye on that one. Might get some market movements here. Scrolling on down, though, we've got several Fed board members speaking. We've got Fed Williams, Fed Musalem, we've got Fed Barkin, Fed Hammock, and Fed Mirren, all speaking this afternoon. That will be at 12 o'clock that we get 3 of those speeches, 10 o'clock for the other one, and 9:45 for that first one. So a bunch of Fed board members speaking today. Getting into Tuesday, we have much of a similar day. Scrolling on down here, let's get to it. We've got Fed Bowman tomorrow. We've got Fed Bostic tomorrow. And the big one is going to be Fed Chair Jerome Powell. So keeping our eye on Monday and Tuesday, seeing kind of what the Fed has in mind for going forward. We are at massive prediction levels on the CME Fed Watch tool for seeing another rate cut. But this could definitely switch up the sentiment. Scrolling on down here a little bit further, we got some heavy data coming out for Wednesday. We're going to be getting those mortgage rate applications. I do think it moves the market a little bit, but nothing too drastically. It is some heavy data to kind of keep your eye on, but that 10-year yield not really coming down much. Would expect things to kind of stay on par for now. That big data drop for the week, though, is going to be getting into Thursday. As we scroll it on down here, we've got those durable goods orders on Thursday. We've got GDP growth rate quarter over quarter, and we've got the initial jobless claims along with retail inventories. So a massive data drop day coming on Thursday that could really shake up the markets, and a lot of this move today looking like it's in preparation for these data drops. Could get a little bit of a push towards the upside if these come out favorably, but looking here, we do see a little bit of an increase on those durable goods orders month over month, but we're still sitting in the negative. Taking a look at GDP, looking like a little bit of a continued contraction here. So keep your eyes on those Thursday's data drops, because they really could shake up the markets here. We've been talking about a contracting economy here on the Piper Academy. For a while, we did see a little bit of a boom after some of that tariff nonsense really settled out, and then we're right back to the trend that we were seeing, that contracting economy up 3.8% to 2% on that GDP price, and 0.5% to 3.3% on that GDP growth rate. We'll kind of have to see if we actually get that massive increase on the growth rate, or if we kind of stay a little bit to the downside there. Definitely something to keep your eye on. We've also got existing home sales coming out on Thursday, and a few more Fed speeches. Scrolling on down, Friday also going to be a very heavy data drop day. We've got personal price index month over month, looking like some increases on that one, and personal income month over month and personal spending month over month. Another heavy data drop to really keep your eyes on, looking like a slowdown on personal income and personal spending staying flat. Not what you want to see here. Definitely could be a variable that really factors into those inflation pressures being a little bit sticky. Let's get that Bitcoin chart pulled on up, see what we got going on in the chat this morning. We've got Curtis Hill first in here, beating Jesse in the chat. Good morning, Curtis Hill. We got Dylan VA in here saying good morning to all. Hope you're having a great day, Dylan VA. We've got Dutchy coming on in here. Good morning, everyone, he said. Well, good morning to you, Dutchy. Hope you've been having a great day so far. Got a lot of price action to kind of go over this morning. As you can see, this a massive dump outside of our CME gap. We did talk about that being a potential last week, and really coming to fruition right now. Could have a little more downside. We got that level directly below us to kind of talk about. We got Steve Hickey in the chat. Good morning to you. Let's see who else we got in here. Scrolling on down, we got Donato Cabrera in the house. Good morning to you. We got JR as well. King DGen in the chats. Let's see what he's looking at this morning. Go ahead, throw a few assets in the chat for me, JR, and everyone else. We've got plenty of time to go over some price action this morning. Let's see who else we got in here. We got Jay Violet. Good evening to you over in Australia. I hope you've had a great day. Let's see anyone else. We got Lasers Go Pew Pew in here. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great day, and let's see if we can find any moves to make as a community. We missed out on a trade at the end of the week. Didn't end up entering it. We set a limit order and fell just a little bit short of that. Once it kind of went by and it didn't fill and we didn't get that upside movement, I took it off the board, which is probably a good thing since we dumped through it and then continued to dump through those levels. We've got Rosh Karan in here. Good morning to you. And we've got Caliphant as well. So let's see what we got for some requests. I think I see some Link being asked for. Saw some interesting news on Link. Looks like a company is going to be doing a treasury with Link, so can definitely take a look at that one. We've got Near and TRX. Can definitely take a look at those as well. Let's see, TRX. And then let's see if we got any other requests here. Not, oh, JR and his degen requests. So let's take a look at one of those. SOMI. And then any other requests, go ahead and drop them in the chat for me. And let me get a poll going on up, see if we want to go long or if we want to go short here, because definitely have some potential on some of these time frames to catch a long move, and could potentially on the macro continue towards the downside if we don't hold some key levels here. Let's see, long or short. Let's see what y'all want to do this morning. All right, let's hop into this Bitcoin chart, because we did see some resistance coming on in at a level we talked about last week. We really dropped back into our CME gap and then tried to hold a level that we had talked about. This 18,200 was that level we started to see resistance at. That was that point of control for our sideways range up here, and then we really dropped below back into the CME gap. That was an area we had talked about. We wanted to see us really hold that midline range if we wanted to hold and remain a little bit bullish here. We are now trying to make a new lower low here. As you can see, we dropped below all of these lows that we had made, still trying to maintain above this low here, and that would be that move to kind of watch for right now. We do have 11,800 being that area to kind of watch for some bouncing at. Looks like we're trying to see a little bit of some hold up at our current levels, and we will really see if we drop a little bit lower to get some nice strong bouncing action out of. We do have an area to potentially watch for some resistance now. That's going to be 13,000, basically 500. That's the bottom side of the CME gap, and we will keep our eye on that price action. We did create a new CME gap here, and we'll have to wait till that market opens to really get that CME gap drawn on up. I'm sure Piper will talk about it. As this dump happened this weekend, this creates a new CME gap for us to keep our eyes on. Are we feeling bearish? A little bit, but if we can hold that 111,800, I wouldn't be so bearish. That's kind of more in line with keeping those higher lows there. This daily is still seeing a little bit of some toppiness here, so would be something to watch for. We're trying to break below our indicator line here, starting to print some red candles on our histogram. We've got a bearish divergence stacked up. A peak seeker came in when we rejected off of the point of control as well, and that money flow maintaining its red here on the daily. So things to keep in mind on that macro time frame. Looking a little bit bearish here. Prime oscillator getting that curvature to the downside here as well. So definitely potential for some downside action, but we would need to lose this 111,800. That's pretty much exactly where we got our bouncing action off of. So that's that bottom side of our range here. We got the point of control up here, and the top side of our range coming in pretty much where we got some nice rejections off of 122 350. That's that area for the top side of our range to keep our eyes on as well. But for right now, we're going to focus on the bottom side of our range. We did get some nice liquidity sweeps below that before. We're really waiting to see if price can maintain above that 111,800. That is an old all-time high as well, and turned into the bottom side of our range. Really waiting to see if we hold that as the bottom side of the range all over again. This 4 hour also continuing to see a little bit of some downside action, but starting to see some signals of some hopium here. We did get our first reversal signal back here at that bounce off of the midline. We lost that quite heavily and then really drop back down towards the bottom side of our range here. Starting to see those oversold signals really start to flash, true 7 clipping on out, and we're seeing a little bit some curvature coming in on that money flow as well. So could definitely see a little bit of some upside price action. Would need to watch that shorter term time frame money flow, get some continuous green candles coming on in here, and get above the bottom side of our CME gap. That's coming in at 113,500. We will see what CME gap we are looking at when the market actually opens, and that will give us our new range to really watch for. I would expect to push into the CME gap that we made this weekend, and then we will go from there. So wait for that Piper morning market report to really give you that CME gap that we made this weekend. Scrolling on in on that time frame, we've got this 1 hour continuing to see a little bit of some bottoming action, but we are continuing on that sell-off. We've got money flow looking extremely red here, seeing a little bit of sideways action coming in on that money flow though, and we'll really have to see if all of these bottoming signals give us a little bit of some bouncing action. I am waiting for price to come down to that 111,800 to 112 area to see some bouncing action off of. So that's that real key area to start watching for some sort of price action at. That would be an area to see some bouncing action off of on the shorter term time frame, and then we'll really have to see if that higher term time frame can hold it as well. So look for that money flow on the shorter term time frame, because we are sitting heavily in the red here. We do have this 15-minute and the morning looking a little more hopeful for an upside move, as you see this money flow still continue on its trend on out. Could definitely see some reversal signals happening all over again, as we got that bullish divergence all over again. Some bottoming indicators up at that midline of our CME gap, dropped below it, and then we're starting to see some bottoming signals all over again on the shorter term time frame. So really watch that short term time frame money flow. That'll be your key signal of some reversals as we get down to that 118,000. Divergence on the likes, most definitely. Dutchie saying 50% on those likes. Hopefully we can get that up. Hopefully with some of this live trading that we do, we can get some of that upside on the like button. BC, why do you like using chart prime oscillator and the MACD? Just curious. I don't really use any, but familiar with MACD. So MACD will help me with the trends. I like seeing where we're sitting either above or below that zero line, and then in tandem with that indicator line, sitting above the indicator line while we're above the zero line, looking like a little bit of a bullish trend, sitting below our indicator line while we're below the zero line, looking like a little bit of a bearish trend. We also have that prime oscillator to give us the momentum. We get the money flow, we get the volume, and we kind of get that trend with a smoothed RSI. So that's why I like that prime oscillator. I switched it out for my smoothed RSI a long time ago because I get those extra things to kind of watch for here. We do have the money flow, which you can normally see with candles. It just makes it a little bit easier. I need the RSI as well. Yeah, it's a very useful tool. I've used it since about the end of high school. It really helped me out quite a bit. You can look at your candles to kind of tell how RSI might look, but it makes it a little bit easier. What makes the RSI smooth? So that's the difference between the very jagged RSI as opposed to like the smoothed line RSI. So let's get this here. We will compare the RSI with our prime oscillator there. All right, relative strength index. And as you can kind of see here, when we compare both of these, let's get this a little bit bigger there. Let's get that one. Moving on up there. As you can see here, you've got your prime oscillator and your RSI here. Look at these jagged movements here on the RSI. So that gives you that indication that you might potentially see some bottoming points. This RSI here bottoms out at 30. That's your normal. I like to drop it down to the 25 range. That's normally where I like to see. If we drop below 25, really gives you that nice bottoming indicator. So come in here, let's get that. Change some of that there on the RSI, and 14 fine. Our bottomings would be 25. So upper band coming in at 70. I like to make that 75 there. And then bottom band coming in at 25. Gives you a little bit of a broader range, but when you actually break outside of it, you're more likely to see those bottoming actions on your RSI. So as you can see here, nice jagged price actions, but very in line with what your prime oscillator is looking like here. You get topping, very similar. You get bottoming, very similar. But you see a lot of these false moves here on the RSI. That's why I like to have it smoothed out so you see the generalized trend and you don't get faked out on these shorter term time frames, because that's where it really matters. So that's kind of why I like to use that prime oscillator. It gives me a lot of data in confluence with some of these other indicators. RSI, very strong tool to use, really helps you in finding those trends. So let's see what we got here. Looking like 59% long. Let's take a look at some of these assets. We can take a look at taking a trade on some Bitcoin. We can also take a look at a few of these other assets we were looking at. We had Link, Near, and then TRX. And then anything else, go ahead and drop them in the chat. It's a CCI or Stochi. Yeah. So those are just the two different types of RSI indicators. That one was actually a combination. That yellow line that was on the RSI that I just showed you was a Stochi line on there. So you get both of those informations together. When you kind of break that Stochi line towards the upside, really gives you a little more confluence. It's that slower moving average line, and that RSI was the quick moving line. So Intel as well, can definitely take a look at that. All right, I know it was doing quite well there. So let's take a look at some of these other tokens, see what we got going on. We had Link requested first, so let's take a look at some Link. We did get some nice downside movements there as well. We're looking to get some bouncing action once we broke out of that little constricting triangle there. Did come up to the 236, which is an area we were watching for. Saw that sell-off happen once we got over there, and then really dropped back down, came back up to that 236 to retest on it, and lost it with some strength there. So let's clean up this chart just a little bit, see what we're looking at here. This daily chart is looking a little bit like you could see some continued downside, but we'll have to see what happens here at the 382. That's that level that price action is trying to hold above right now. We do have your MACD breaking below our zero line here, remaining under our indicator line and creating a bigger gap from it. So something to kind of keep your eye on. You are starting to potentially get to an area where you could see some bottoming action happening on that prime oscillator though. So definitely something to kind of keep your eye on both of these. I would wait to kind of see that money flow on the shorter term time frame to see what that price action is really telling us. Are we getting that nice strong bouncing action off of the 382 at $21.08, or are we losing it? And are we coming all the way back down to our range down here at about $20? That's almost directly where we came to and saw that Wiccan action back above our 382 on. That's a little bit shy of it, came in at $20.38. But if we are unable to hold that 382 on the shorter term time frame, $20 is looking like the area to really see that nice bouncing action on. So something to keep your eye on. We are at some levels where we could potentially start seeing some support, but we would really need that short-term price action to come in with some buying pressure. We are seeing that volume looking extremely low here, not too unexpected. Over a weekend, a lot of that slowdown came with some continued selling action. A lot of people waiting to see if they can get that pump off of some lower levels here. Waiting to see if we can get that nice sideways momentum here on the MACD line, as we're seeing some bottoming signals on this prime oscillator. Got two reversal signals, got a bunch of oversold signals here as well once we got down to that 382. So something to kind of keep your eye on the shorter term time frame. We're seeing some bottoming signals, but we will need that to come with some money flow here. So seeing that nice little bounce back down to the 382, give it a little bit of a retest, and we're waiting to see here on the 15-minute if we can continue with that curvature back towards the upside. Prime oscillator is sitting in the red and getting a little bit of sideways momentum, but we're really waiting to see what happens with this money flow. We've got some resistance directly above us at $21.45. So that's that area to really get above on the short-term time frame, as we're seeing these bounces on the 382. That'll really give us that momentum for some upside movements there. I did see crypto AI coming on in. Good morning. I can already see some YouTubers saying last chance to buy yet again. Most definitely, if we can hold some of these key levels, it might be that last chance. But with how things are looking, I've talked about the weekly chart over and over. No one really brings that up too much. That weekly chart's looking a little bit bearish. So if we are unable to really hold some of these key levels that a lot of these assets are at, like the 382 here on Link, hold the bottom side of our range on Bitcoin, there's definitely some more downside to keep your eye on. ETH going to 39. Well, we can take a look at ETH as well. So let me get that one on the list. We got ETH to take a look at as well. Definitely the leader of the alt sector there. So I will keep my eye on the key levels that a lot of these assets are at right now. I'll watch on those shorter term time frames to see if we can continue to get a little money flowing on in. If we don't get that money flowing on in and we start to lose those levels, we do have plenty of levels below us to really watch for some support at. Also keep your eye on the TradFi side, because that TradFi side is selling off as well. And if TradFi is selling off, you're going to see some sell off on your crypto markets as well. These move in tandem, and we are seeing some sell off on those big 7 assets. That's what we went over first thing. That's kind of why I go over that every single day. So we're not like, oh, blinders on, we're only looking at crypto, because they move in tandem. We are seeing a little bit of strength in the dollar as well. It is sitting a little bit down, trying to hold some of those key levels. But if you do see it continue to lose some strength here, we drop below a level we had talked about last week, you might see some strength in your assets there. So something to keep your eyes on. We are sitting at key levels across the board. Let's get over to my favorites here, because someone asked for one of my favorites, and that was Near. Is it not in my favorites? Is it in my extra? I guess not. Let's see. Near. Near. Let's see. I guess I took it out of my favorites there. Oh, no, it's way down there. There we go. Near. Oh, ooh. tried to maintain $3.07. That was an area from way back in the beginning, and we are seeing a little bit of some downside action coming back to $2.73. But let's get this pulled on up on the daily here. Pretty much got that nice bouncing action below our platinum pocket, got that move back up to what was support and turned into resistance, got a little bit of a liquidity grab above it, and then dropped back down. Pretty similar to what we've been seeing across the board here. We will kind of have to see as we zoom this on in what we're looking like for our momentum here. We do have that MACD looking a little bit toppy, prime oscillator also looking a little bit toppy as well. So we will need to keep our eyes on some of these levels a little bit below us if we don't maintain some of our current range here. Been a little while since I've looked at near, and looking still like it is on those bearish areas. We are sitting at the top side of our bearish range right now, so at least a little bit of hopium there. I made all of my money on near a long time ago. I haven't really paid attention to it since. A lot of these alts haven't really been playing out. No one cares about utility this cycle. They care about what's making money, and apparently that's not utility. So definitely looking like we're seeing a little bit of some continued downside potential for some near. We would need to lose that $2.73 level and see what happens at the platinum pocket for some real bearishness there. We've got some strength below us at $2.14, but let's see how that hourly's looking. Seeing some nice bottoming action here. Your true sevens clipped out twice, a reversal signal here, some overbought signals, and curvature back up on that prime oscillator. We're getting that sideways momentum on that MACD as well. Really waiting to see if we drop back down though, because we do have resistance directly above us coming in at about $2.88. So about 2 cents above us, we have a little bit of some resistance at. That'd be that area to kind of watch for on the short-term time frame. If we can get above that, can really get moving towards the upside there. So let me get that drawn on out. $2.88 would be that price level to really break above, would give us that area of momentum to get above with some price action. We are printing a nice big green candle here so far, and we'll kind of have to see on that shorter term time frame if that money flow can continue. We are seeing some nice moves back towards the upside here on near, but like I said, resistance is directly above us. MACD getting that break above our indicator line and doing so with some strength here, creating a little bit of a gap between that indicator line and that MACD line. You've got that prime oscillator curving towards the upside with a bullish divergence. So watch to see if we can get above $2.88. If we can, we've got some levels above us on the short-term time frame to really keep your eye on, and that's coming in at about $2.96. So those are those two levels towards the upside, and you already had those levels towards the downside there. Let's see, we had near, let's take a look at some TRX. Let me get that pulled on up there. TRX, see what we got going on. Dang, pretty much similar to what we've looked at across the board so far. Short-term time frame really tried to hold that 34-cent range, and then when we lost it extremely quickly. Let's get that zoomed on out. Take a look at the daily here. Daily getting back down to some areas where we could really see some bouncing action off of. We did get that bounce off of our candle bodies here. Would like to see if we get down to 33.15. Let me get that horizontal drawn on out. That's where we get all these equal candle bodies on the bottom side there, and that would be a nice support area to see some continued upside off of. If we lose that, there's levels to the bottom side to really keep your eye on. You've got, let's see, 32 cents coming into play, and then our 50% line coming in on our fib retracements at 31.76. daily is looking a little bit bearish, a little more bearish here than some of these other assets were, breaking below that indicator line getting some curvature, printing some red candles on that histogram as we're trying to get below that zero line here. So watch that short-term time frame, money flow, see if we can get some reversals on these red candles here on our higher term time frame. If not, we do have those levels below us. Prime oscillator also getting that curvature to the downside and sitting in the red while your volume is extremely low, but that weekend volume's normally pretty low here. But this volume has been decreasing since we were unable to hold our 382. So people really waiting for that bottom side entry point on TRX like we are on a lot of these other assets. Let's see what we got. We got Crypto Billy in the house. Good morning to you, sir. Hope you're having a great day so far. Let's see, 68% long. We didn't get through a whole lot of these assets just yet, but we did have a few to kind of take a look at for a long trade. So let me get that. Let me get that poll going real quick, and I will take that trade after we end the show. So BTC, we had Link, we got TRX, and after that, we will take a look at some Ethereum. Might have to take a look at some of those other assets and drop those charts in the Discord for you. We got Russo Pico in the chat. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great day so far. First time here? Well, I appreciate you showing on up. He's from Australia too. We've got another Australia watcher in here. I appreciate you tuning on in. We've got 3 different shows here on the Piper Academy that we do daily. That's our morning market report at 10 a.m. Eastern time. We've got Trading with OC at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and we've got my show here at 5:45 Eastern time. This is our pre-market show. If you are awake for the rest of the shows, I would suggest taking a look. We do a lot of macro looks in the morning, and then we've got our short-term trade setups with OC in the evening. So appreciate you tuning on in. If you've liked what you saw so far, go ahead, hit that like button and the subscribe button so you get notified every time we go live. But let's dive on into that Ethereum chart. Y'all let me know what we take a trade on while we get into this Ethereum chart. We did have Kellephant asking if we could potentially see $39,000 on Ethereum. And, that is a key level to kind of watch for. We are seeing a little bit of strength coming in at $4,080. That's that level we got that nice little bouncing action off of. Really seeing 4,210 coming in as some local resistance here. This was a short-term time frame area. Let me get that cleaned on up there. We wanted to see price action holding up at $4,500, really dropped below that and dropped below it with some strength. We're seeing a peak seeker indicator, getting that curvature on that prime oscillator, but the one little bit of hopium here, 39,000, let's go. Oh, 3,900. Yeah, that would be some really bullish price action for Ethereum. 3,900. My bad on that one. The one little bit of hopium we're seeing here on Ethereum is this nice green money flow. We are maintaining that quite nicely as we drop back down. So I really want to see us hold that green money flow here on the daily, because if you start to lose that, you've got levels below us to really keep your eye on. We do have that golden pocket fib extension coming on in as that area where I would really like to see price holding on up at. It is a little bit below that 3,900 target you were talking about, Kellephant. That's coming in at $3,860. So pretty close in line to what you were talking about for Ethereum. That is that bottom side area I would really keep my eye on first. If we do lose that, there is levels below us to really keep our eye on, and that first one's coming on in at $3,720. That's where we get these very, very equal candle bodies. That would be a little bit of a higher term time frame bouncing area. Let's make it a little bit thicker there. So as you can see, we saw our resistance at that platinum pocket. We did get some movements above it, but we really saw all of those areas from back here on our old cycle come in as some resistance. This was our initial high. This was our secondary push up to try to get above it, and then we lost it with some strength. I see Road Dog Crypto in the chat. Good morning to you, sir. Hope you're having a great day. Let me get that channel pulled on up in the background. If you don't follow Road Dog, you definitely should be. And let me share that with you in the chat there. Share channel and copy. All right. Take a look at his channel. He has a lot of fun, a little more of degen than I am, but you know me, I like to invest. So I don't care so much about the shorter term time frame movements unless it's giving me some bottoming indicators, which this right now is not. Seeing that nice slowdown on buying pressure, you've got reversal signals on the top side coming on in here. We do have a bearish divergence as well, and that prime oscillator pointing to the downside, as that MACD's point to the downside as well. Zooming on in, taking a look at this 1 hour, we're seeing a little bit of some hopium here, but that money flows directly in the red, and looking like you could continue to see that come on out if we are unable to maintain $4,072. That's where we got a little bit of some bouncing action off of, came back up to an area we were trying to hold from way back here. You see all the touches that we get off of that. We're unable to get above it and hold it, and we rejected off of it with some strength. We're trying to push back up to it right now. This would have been that shorter term time frame test on 4,210, looking for a higher term time frame test on 4,210 right now, as we're seeing these very equal candle bodies come in at the bottom side, getting that nice green money flow coming on in on the shorter term time frame. You can see it here on that 15-minute. We're seeing some bottoming indicators on that money flow. Got some bullish divergences stacked up there as well, but we are directly below some local resistance. So before I get any kind of bullish sentiment here, I would want to see us break above that 4,200 and then really continue with some green money flow there. That is about all I have time to take a look at this morning, because it is 5:30 and you know what we head to right afterwards. We head over to that morning motivational video to continue with the best mornings. So I appreciate everyone tuning on in. Appreciate all the new people tuning on in as well. My only degen is allowed to access to small accounts. Oh, well, that's still more degen than me. I buy assets and I hold them for like 3 to 10 years, So that's pretty much most of what I do. I do a little bit of trading, but it's more swing trading. So that's the basis of my trading. I don't like the small time frame moves. I like big moves. Give me big candles, give me big moves, and throw like 3x leverage on top of it. But all the trading styles matter. You find what works for you and you stick with it and you build up your capital. We had K Diggity in the chat as well. Good morning to you. I appreciate all of you tuning on in. We will see you at the next one. That's going to be that morning market report at 10 a.m. and we'll have a lot of fun on that one. We've got a lot of data for Piper to break on down this week. So keep your eyes on those charts, keep your eyes on those data drops, and wake up, because today's going to be a good day.